Hey, Michael here, making some field notes on definitions. Was out for some exercise and a walk and climbed up this tree. I'm in a water oak, as you can see. There's a river birch over there and another water oak. Cypress Creek behind me, a pond over there. Really nice day, sunshine, in the 60s out now. Must be low humidity. Really enjoying this. Had some thoughts about definition. Wanted to record. Now, definitions are very important. Without them, we don't have clear, concise thinking. When we see things perceptually, things are obvious. It's, so to speak, defined for us. But when you get to more abstract concepts like friendship, capitalism, rights, morality, they're much more abstract and you cannot just see them. They have to be defined to tie them back to reality so that they have the same kind of mental force to us as perception does. So just as if you're walking in the street and you turn to your left and see a truck coming at you, you've got an immediate response. Definitions give us that with more abstract concepts. We can look at something and see that it's red or see that it's blue and it's obvious. We can hear something and know it's a bird. We can look at something and know it's a tree. But even on the perceptual level, we can get confused. You have to make sure you're being clear conceptually so you can identify certain things correctly. For example, if you want to find an American holly and you just think it's some leaf with spiky things on it, you could confuse it with a cherry laurel. Cherry laurel is not at all the same thing as an American holly. Cherry laurel has cyanide in it. You want to avoid making that mistake. To better get the importance of definitions, let's think about what they'd be like on the perceptual level. Then we wouldn't be able to recognize a red bird without them, because a red bird would just be some kind of smallish thing that floats in the air and kind of is some color. Then you could not distinguish it with a bluebird, for example, or a red balloon, because hey, a red balloon is just some reddish, colorish, smallish, floaty thing in the sky, in the air. Or you wouldn't be able to distinguish a dog from a cat, because cats would be just furry, four-legged, moving around on the ground thingies, and so is a dog. So if your vision was blurry, you could not distinguish the two. That's what it would be like. It just makes some kind of noise, some meowy or barky or whatever noise. So definitions help us be clear and concise about what exactly we're talking about. They help us see that friendship is a relationship with a person in which we spend a lot of time together and share values together. Sometimes it's hard to get all that knowledge. It's abstract, takes a lot of time and mental effort to see that someone has the same values as us and supports our survival. They like us, we like them. And clearly, we don't always get that. People make a lot of mistakes. You end up being betrayed by someone who you thought was your friend and turns out not to be, someone who wanted to use you. Of course, we will always make some mistakes because humans can be deceitful. They can lie, pretend they're something they're not. That can be hard to see through. But in general cases, if we have a definition, we can be a lot more clear about what a friend is and protect ourselves from harm. But more than that, enjoy our lives a lot more. It's also important in understanding what education is. If you look at the needs and requirements of human life, how we work, you can see that and trace it back to basics. You see that education is fundamentally about training the youth in conceptual thinking to prepare them for adult life. Most other things are automatic. We don't really need training. But education is not essentially just memorizing lots of things that an authority tells you or learning to obey an authority. that isn't really consistent with human nature or the requirements of human life or human life in a society. Whether we're in a society or not, we still have to think, because that's our nature. We're conceptual beings, conceptual animals. We still have to think in order to survive and live and thrive. And we can see that a misdefinition of education causes a lot of pain and frustration and confusion, since some people think about it as memorization or just kind of doing what was done to them. Then people stay up late memorizing stuff. They're not getting enough sleep. They wonder when we're ever going to use this. They think ideas aren't too important in life. That's kind of trained out of them. People want to know when we're going to use this, but also why something is true. And since things are about memorization, through consistent practice of being denied why things are true, too many people just give up on that, or they never learn how to do it. So then when they become an adult, they have given up on it or don't know how to do it. They don't know how to really derive ideas on their own independently to make sure things are true. And on a more concrete, less abstract level, a lot of people don't get what a normal force is, for example, in physics, and that causes some confusion. So if a normal force is defined properly, we look at actual things that are a normal force and distinguish them from other things, have a number of things in one category or group and another things in another category or group, and then we would look at how they're similar and how they're different. We would find the essential characteristics of the normal force things and be able to properly define it. So some people just think a normal force is a resisting force, but that's a mistake. Normal force, normal means perpendicular. So a normal force is a force of a surface on an object, not a resisting force such as air. When something's falling through the air, that's air resistance. That is not a normal force. A normal force would be like a table on which a pencil rests, or it's like the branch on which I sit, or the ground on which a dog runs or a bicyclist rides. Those are surfaces that are providing a perpendicular force to some physical object. Or projectile motion. Some people are confused about that, but you got to grasp that a projectile motion is like a rock thrown, an arrow shot, a bullet shot, a spear thrown. It is not something falling. So a projectile is different from something in free fall. You might consider free fall to be a limiting case of projectile motion, but you can see that they're different. Projectile motion has some horizontal velocity, but no horizontal force, and it has a vertical force. For example, gravity pulling down on it. That's what we generally use. And a projectile cannot have some constant force acting on it, such as a missile, a modern missile. It's not a car going on the ground. It's not a ball rolling on the ground. Those aren't projectiles. A projectile is kind of like a combination of free fall with horizontal motion with no acceleration. You can take specific examples and develop the concept, and doing exercises like that is very important to help students develop the ability to reason. So they are defining terms, and in the process of definition, they must look at reality and they must connect their knowledge. It involves integration and some induction. So it teaches students very important skills that they'll need in life. And when they grasp that process, then they can better use it for more abstract concepts like definition of definition itself, epistemology, friendship, romantic literature, capitalism, politics, government, or some concept they might coin or invent themselves, or some process in the future. Definitions help keep us connected to the real world. So some of those things that I listed, you could go out and practice defining yourself. Try to go through the process from particular things through abstraction upon abstraction to come with a definition, look at similarities and differences between the group of things you have and the other things, and be real and objective about it. It's not whatever you want it to be. You got to look at the demands and requirements of the cold, hard, causal world, because that's the world we live and act in and achieve values in. So, hope this helps. So, go out there and define your terms. Have a good day.